When I started learning English and French at school back in the days, I was frustrated because every time I tried to say something, my mind and my brain constantly resorted to my native language. Hi, my name is Luca from Lampariello.com, and today I'm going to talk about how to think directly in your target language. Let's get started. So, truth be told, I was quite frustrated. But with time and experience and the more languages I learned, I just realized that this is completely normal. Reversing, reverting, converting, and resorting to your native language is just a natural process. If you think about it, that makes sense because the brain always takes new pieces of information from the outside, from the environment, and associates these pieces of information with old pieces of information that it has stored. So you should not be scared of translating. I've heard so many people countless times say that you have to stay away from your native language, you have to stay away from translation. But the truth is, you can actually use your own native language and leverage the knowledge in your own native language to learn new languages, new things, new words. An example of that is Italian and Spanish. I am a native Italian speaker, and for me, I would not go so far as to say that learning Spanish was a piece of cake, but having the two languages that similar and being able to compare and translate was a huge help. Let me give you an example, if you don't know Spanish or if you don't know Italian. Voglio andare al mare perché il tempo è bello. Quiero ir al mar porque el tiempo está estupendo, es estupendo. Well, you can compare these two, and if you compare it side by side, you will realize that the structure is almost the same and the words are almost the same. So the bottom line here is that if you are a native Italian speaker, learning Spanish by using translation will actually be a huge advantage. In this regard, you can see your native language like a companion that takes you hand by hand or with whom you walk hand by hand. For the first stretch of the long journey ahead, he will be with you and he will be a great help. Then when you are more autonomous and you know your way, you will be able to walk alone. So if on one hand I think the translation is great, you have to be cautious with it and you have to learn how to translate. Let me give you another example. Japanese is quite different from Spanish and of course from Italian. So if on one hand Italian and Spanish are very similar or very close in linguistic terms, Italian and Japanese are very, very distant. And not just in terms of words, but also in terms of syntax, that is how we arrange things and how we arrange a sentence. Voglio andare al mare perché il tempo è bello. I want to go to the sea because the weather is great. So in Japanese, you would say that tenki ga ii kara kyou wa umi ni ikitai desu, which means, I have to think about it. Tenki ga, it's like the weather, ii, good, kara, since, kyou wa, today, umi ni, to the sea, ikitai desu, I want to go. And as you can see, the structure is quite different. You have to rearrange the words in a completely different way. And that adds an extra step and it's some extra effort for your brain, because you not only have to think about the words, the meaning, you have to take them and rearrange them like a puzzle. So in this case, translation can be somewhat, laborious. And one piece of advice that I have given to myself with time, and I've just realized it, is that, so the question was, should I just stop translating Japanese? And the answer was no, but simplify it. When we try to sound sophisticated and say things that are a little bit too complicated, what happens is our brain reverts to a defense mechanism, says, woo, stop there. This is too difficult. We're trying to say things very often that are too difficult because we just don't have the tools. So what to do? Well, just break things down. The most important thing is not performance. Of course you want to sound smart, right? But the most important thing is always communication. It's always getting your point across. It's always to make that person smile or connect with you or share thoughts. The point is, I want to go to the sea, and the weather is beautiful. And you put these things together, one after the other, you break down these sentences by simply saying, for example, Today the weather is beautiful, I want to go to the sea. That is easier in Japanese because you're shortening sentences. And in that case, your brain will actually say, okay, you're letting me breathe, and it will be much easier to stick to Japanese instead of resorting to your own native language. That's a very important key point to take away. Sure, there are many techniques that you can use in order to get your point across, improve your communication skills, be more direct, more concise, talk to people. That's all fantastic. But the truth is that language learning happens first and foremost through input, and massive input at that. If you want to sound almost like a native speaker or simply acquire native-like skills, what you have to do is get massive input, get exposed to a lot of things. And I'm not just referring to a lot of audio or a lot of books. A lot of these things, all of these things. Think about what a native speaker did. So reading books, watching documentaries, watching movies, listening to podcasts, all the things you can think of that you like doing in your own native language, or which you did, just do them in your target language, because that is going to influence not so much, of course, also your conscious mind, but first and foremost, the subconscious part of your mind. And remember that the brain is like a recorder. It records everything. So the more you expose yourself to situations, to people, to books, to documentaries, to everything you can think of, the better it is. I am pretty sure that sometimes you found yourself saying something or knowing something that you think, where did I learn this? How do I know this? That's because your mind learns also subconsciously. You never have to forget that. So whatever you do, great. Get on Skype, talk to people, do this, do that, do something deliberately. But on top of that, make sure and never forget to get massive input as much as you can, because that is also going to influence the way you're going to speak here, now, and in the long term. So to do a quick wrap up, the three important things to keep in mind are, first of all, don't be scared of using your own native language. It's inevitable. Make it to your advantage. Leverage it. Build short sentences and then learn to link them together and progressively expand them, because the main point is not performance. It's always, first and foremost, communication. And the third thing to keep in mind is that language learning happens unconsciously and consciously. And to make it very strong, you have to combine the two. So get massive input through every single channel that you can fathom and you can think of, because that's going to make the difference in the short run as well as in the long run. So here you have it. I truly hope you liked the video, and if you want to know more, I've written an extensive article that you can also listen to on top of reading on my website, lucalampariello.com. You can click on the link below. And again, thanks for watching, and see you very soon here on YouTube.